Karoline Leavitt, the fiery Republican strategist and vocal MAGA supporter, has never been one to hold back. But this time, she might have just gone a bit overboard. The political world is buzzing after Amazon founder Jeff Bezos dropped a brutal truth bomb about Donald Trump and his staunch ally J.D. Vance, and Karoline's response. Well, let's just say it lit up social media like a 4th of July fireworks show. It all started when Bezos, who rarely steps directly into the political spotlight, took to social media with a sharply worded critique of the GOP's direction. In a scathing post, Bezos warned that figures like Trump and Vance were leading the Republican Party down what he called a dangerously regressive path, fueled by grievance, paranoia, and blind loyalty rather than real policy solutions. The billionaire didn't mince words. He accused Trump of being obsessed with personal vendettas and labeled J.D. Vance, the Ohio senator and former venture capitalist, as a political opportunist who sold out his principles for relevance. That was all it took. Within minutes, Karoline Leavitt jumped to the defense of her political heroes. In a furious video posted to her X account, formerly Twitter, she slammed Bezos as an out-of-touch elitist who has no business lecturing working-class Americans about political morality. Her voice rising with every sentence, Leavitt accused Bezos of hiding behind his billions while American families struggle to afford gas and groceries. Jeff Bezos doesn't care about America. He's too busy flying to space and shipping us Chinese junk through Amazon to understand what real Americans want, she declared. President Trump and J.D. Vance are fighting for us. They represent real change, not whatever liberal fantasy Bezos is peddling. Karoline's video went viral in record time. Conservatives rallied behind her fiery defense, with hashtags like #StandWithKaroline and #MAGA trending within hours. On the other hand, critics blasted her for what they saw as an over-the-top meltdown, claiming she was more interested in theatrics than facts. But regardless of where people stood, one thing was clear. Karoline's reaction made this political spat the hottest topic of the week. Bezos, for his part, didn't back down. He responded with a follow-up post, doubling down on his comments. He emphasized that his issue wasn't just with Trump or Vance as individuals, but with the broader culture of misinformation and division they're cultivating. The country deserves leaders who can unite, not inflame, Bezos wrote. America's challenges won't be solved by nostalgia and name-calling. We need vision, not vengeance. That line, vision, not vengeance, instantly sparked headlines. Pundits from across the spectrum began dissecting the deeper meaning behind Bezos' words. Was he signaling support for a new kind of Republican? Was he preparing to play a larger role in politics, perhaps funding centrist candidates or even flirting with the idea of endorsing someone like Nikki Haley or Liz Cheney? The speculation ran wild. But if Karoline Leavitt felt intimidated, she didn't show it. In a follow-up interview with a conservative podcast, she doubled down on her earlier remarks. Jeff Bezos is just mad that people like Donald Trump and J.D. Vance can't be bought, she said. He's used to people bowing to his power, but that's not how we do things in America first. We don't answer to billionaires. We answer to the people. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance responded in a much cooler tone. Rather than engage in a shouting match, Vance released a statement pointing to what he called his commitment to blue-collar America. He acknowledged Bezos' right to speak out but questioned his understanding of the issues that impact families in the Midwest. It's easy to sit in a mansion and tell people how to live, Vance said. But until you've worked in a factory or raised a family on a tight budget, maybe it's time to listen instead of lecture. The entire situation highlights a deeper divide within American politics, not just between the left and right, but within the Republican Party itself. On one side are the firebrands like Karoline Leavitt, who champion loyalty to Trump and rail against elite influence. On the other side are voices like Bezos and even some moderate Republicans who worry that the MAGA movement is prioritizing personality over policy. Even longtime Republican strategists are divided. Some believe Bezos' comments, while harsh, raise valid concerns about the future of the GOP. Others argue that figures like Karoline are giving voice to the frustrations of everyday Americans who feel left behind by globalization and technocratic rule. No matter which side you're on, it's impossible to ignore the spectacle. Bezos may have thought he was simply making a statement, but what he actually did was ignite a firestorm. And in that firestorm, Karoline Leavitt stood front and center, turning her outrage into headlines and fueling the kind of passionate defense that her followers have come to expect. Will this latest clash have any real political consequences? Maybe. Maybe not. But what's undeniable is that the political stage is shifting, and the power players, from billionaires to backbenchers, are all fighting for control of the narrative. As the 2024 election inches closer, one thing is certain: these battles are only going to get louder, messier, and more personal. And Karoline Leavitt, like her political idol Donald Trump, seems ready for every fight.